Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your boy Dr. Rogers, a multiple scholarship winner in LOT. If this is your first time on my channel, make sure you hit on the subscription bell, you like it, and you share with all your folks. I made a video before on how you can use Google Scholar to cite articles, but I found out that the volume was kind of muted, so someone reached out to me. So I decided to redo another video, but this time I'm going to expand it on how you can use Google Scholar in order to, to you can use it for citing your articles and also writing a literature review. Like I remember when I started writing my one of like my first literature review papers, I used to wonder like how many papers are enough for you to actually write a good review paper. So by review meaning you're actually going through a paper, summarizing it, and then checking what are the new findings, and also sharing what are the future research gaps in that field. So let's get to it right away now. I'm gonna show you. So if you need that paper, what you have to do is you go to uh, probably go to Google Scholar. That's the first thing you do. For example, if I'm doing a research on what is climate climate change, so my keyword search word here is climate change, and most of the time you will prefer to do um you probably want to do your research and make sure you target the most recent papers, those that are recent as much as possible. Because usually, when the papers are very old, a lot of the time you might not end up even publishing the paper because it's very old. So, for example, I'm researching on climate change. That's my example. So, if I'm to use like if you look on the left this way, you have since 2001, 2002, 2020, 2017. So probably, sorry, from 20, the most recent year to very old ages. And most of the time, I prefer to go down for, let's say, the last 5 years, maybe 20, or last 6 years, 2016, to search for my papers. So when I start searching for papers in that age or in that year. So what will happen is that yeah, I just checked on that now, and these are the papers I have, and probably sometimes you will have to choose whether you go for books or you go for journals or just papers. And most of the time, the books are usually they might consist of articles put all together. So usually I prefer to go for the articles. So the first article here is this one, which has been cited like 157 times. This is really a pretty good paper you can use for your research. Also, sometimes some of these papers might not be free. If the paper is not free, the first thing you can do is you go to all the six versions of the paper. So you're gonna see all the six versions of that paper. When you check on all the six versions of that paper, you're gonna see probably you might see that just wait, I'll show you. Okay, what you see is these first three versions of the papers. This one is not free, this is not free, this is not free, and this is not free. So if you go down here, you see that this one, the ones written with PDF, these are usually the free papers, because usually not all papers are free in all the cases. So if you get that paper, you can probably use it for your research. Then again, you can go down when you get that paper. You probably have to open it up. For example, let's go for this one. So when I open up this paper, it's on soil microbes and climate change. You see that it's a recent paper which was recently published. So the first thing what I usually do is I go through the abstract of the paper, and you see this paper is not free. It's not a free paper. So if the paper is not free, you have to go back and search for the free version. So I just clicked here and it's not free. For me to get the full paper, you have to click on where it's written PDF. Yeah, that is a PDF. So here you can get the free version of the paper. And then now you can go ahead to review the paper. Again, when you're reviewing papers, again, it's very important you go for free papers because some of them are sold and some reviews you might need like 100 papers. So if you start buying papers, you might end up spending a lot of money without getting those papers. Again, you can also look for related articles still within that, which are related to that particular paper. And within the related papers now, they will help you to get more papers within um, that field. So that is one of the things you can do. Again, usually when I'm reviewing my papers, here they are mostly books. I usually love to start with the PDF papers most of the time. So let's say I got already that first paper. Okay, I'm gonna use climate change. Let's say in Cameroon, climate change in Cameroon within that year. Okay, within climate change in Cameroon. So this is the first paper I'm going to get here. So I look for it. This paper HTM. Let's find out if the paper is free. Okay, for this paper, you can see the paper is a very good paper, and fortunately, it's a free paper. So I can confidently use this paper to review my article because the main thing what you're trying to avoid is to first of all you're trying to avoid using papers which are not free. Secondly, you do not want to copy someone's work because if you copy, it's totally very wrong and you can be highly penalized for that. So when you're reviewing paper, it's very very important. And again, when it comes to citing, you can easily cite your papers. Like here it's written here, it's written cite. So you can use that to cite your papers when you want to cite papers. And this paper has been cited for 22 times. So and it was published just in 2019, meaning it's a really really good paper which you can use for your research. There's another one here for female farmers in Oku, Cameroon. That's probably area where I come from in Cameroon. This is also a good paper too. So usually when you're searching your reviewing your paper, it's usually good to have like a table of content where you can use to you know review your paper. So I'm gonna show you all how I usually go ahead to do mine. Usually, I love to start with a table of content. So on my table of content, I might get, let's say, climate change. That's my topic. So the first bullet would be what is. So usually I create my table of content like I said before, and it's very important for you to do that. So what I do is usually I create like a table of content. So I create a table of content first. First thing I might say, what is climate change? What are the causes? Where is it more? And then that'll be for my introduction part, introduction part. So then for the body, uh, number of papers I will search, and then conclusion. So this is like my table of content. So, and within this, I now get to invite the people I want to be or I want to review the paper with. So that's usually what I do. Then some people might start with an abstract. Some you write an abstract of what you want to review the paper on, then you send it. Now you might send it to either be to your supervisor for those doing masters and PhD. If you're doing a postdoc, you can send it to your boss and other people whom you want them to review the paper with you together. But the thing is, usually when you send that to them, they will actually decide if they want to join you on the review paper or not. So that is one of the things which you have to do when you're writing a literature review. And again, for to know, usually there is a question whether is it one paper which is enough for you to is one paper enough? Is two paper or three? Are two paper or three papers enough? That all depends on you. There are some review which have just five papers, some will have 100 paper. But the point is, go for the number of papers which are first, most recent. Secondly, you go for the number of papers you know you're able to adequately digest and you are not going to copy and paste in any way. So Google Scholar has made it very easy for anyone who wants to search such kind of papers to use for their literature review. And then one more thing which I want to show you guys is if you're reviewing papers, a paper, for example, and you come across a paper which does not it is this paper is free. For example, a paper like this one, you know, you come across a paper like this one, which is obviously this one is a free paper, you might come across some papers which are not free. What do you do in that case in order to get the paper? Okay, for example, in most cases, there will be the recent papers which have recently been published. So if you come across that paper which is not free, what you can do is you go down here. You obviously have the email address of the corresponding author. Here you have email address of the corresponding author. You can get his email address and then you send him an email. For example, this author, yeah, this is his email address. So you get the email, you copy his email address. You get to copy his email address. When you copy the email address, what you do is you send an email. You're going to send an email to you're going to send an email to the author requesting for his email address. So I'm going to show you how you can go ahead to do that. Share screen. So that was that. Okay, you're gonna say dear author, I am your name. I wish to request for the title of the article. And then I am a student. I will use it strict for education purpose. Thanks. And once you do that, you have to send to the author. You send him an email, and then he is going to send the paper to you. So if you love what I'm doing here, I'm going to give more tips afterwards on how you can write literature review papers to publish papers. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe.